What's going on, Bears fans? We're back with another edition of the Bear With Us podcast. Joining me, as always, is Aiden and Nick. How's it going, fellas?
Great, my
Going
dude.
pretty
It's
well.
great to be
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, we've low key have taken a little bit of a sabbatical here because of we all are Iowa State fellas here, as many people know, but it's been kind of a crazy time in college athletics for us, and the Bears are kind of quiet per se because training camp's right around the corner, but the college athletic world has been tipped upside down, as many know, so we've kind of been a little laser focus on that. But it's time to get back into it and talk some Bears a little bit, even though there's not a whole lot going on, but there has been a little bit of development, I guess you would say, in the Bears' quest to move to Arlington Heights. And we all know Mayor Lightfoot wants to keep the Bears at Soldier Field, and a lot of Bears fans would probably prefer that the team play in the city. But as I always like to say, Soldier Field is kind of a dump nowadays, and it's been a hot minute since it's been it's been renovated. So I don't know if you guys have been. Aiden, you've been to Soldier Field?
I have not.
Nick, have you been?
Ton of times. Yes, sir.
So in my experiences at Soldier Field, it's, you're going to watch the Bears. I haven't really thought about it a whole lot when I'm like there. I'm like, God, Soldier Field sucks. But I mean, if you really do think about it, it's old. I mean, you go to some of these NFL stadiums across the country and you see, all the fun stuff that all these teams have in their stadium, all the updated amenities and things like that. Soldier Field is definitely lacking in that department, and it's time for an upgrade. And unfortunately for Soldier Field being owned by the city of Chicago and the Parks District, there isn't a whole lot the Bears can actually do without approval from the city. And I think that is primarily part of the reason why they want to move to Arlington Heights, to have full control of their own stadium, but also, to generate that revenue and keep it for themselves. And basically the Bears right now, as it sits, if I remember correctly, they are like the 7th most valuable franchise, and that's without owning an NFL stadium. And if they were to own their own NFL stadium, it would vault them into the top 3. So that's just crazy to think about, that the Bears are that high in the top 10 lists without even owning a single basically stadium asset at this point. So, I know what my feeling is, to just get the hell out of Dodge and let's move to Arlington Heights. But I know we haven't talked about it. I know this has been a redundant topic for over a year by any Chicago Bears podcast out there. But I'm going to ask you guys really quick, what are your thoughts on moving out of Soldier Field? And Nick, I will start with you.
Yeah, not only is it kind of fresh to us, but it's something we haven't even really talked about off the show. So I kind of sensed it, especially with you, Matthias, but this is a spot where we disagree.
Oh boy. Let's go.
I definitely like the points that the Bears have to make, and obviously that makes a lot of sense. I knew the Bears were high up in terms of, kind of overall value. I didn't realize quite that high. So that is certainly impressive, but I'm just somebody, and I mean, you guys have even seen it in kind of other contexts as well when we've talked about sports, but I'm just big into kind of the tradition and what I've grown up with. This is one of the few kind of spots where I can just be a fan with the team. You know what I mean? I've been to Soldier Field many times. It's not great, right? It's not nice. It doesn't necessarily have even the historic cachet that Wrigley has with the Cubs. But, it's Soldier. It's the Bears. I do think, and I really embrace some of the things that could be done around it, as we kind of touched on, that can, give people a little more entertainment value, make things look a little more better, fresh, newer, kind of with things around the stadium. But I don't want the Bears to move out to Arlington Heights. I've been pretty staunch with that, and I think that's where I still stand right now.
Aiden?
I say get out of town. I mean, the main gripe for me is that the Bears don't own the stadium. It would be something else if they were allowed to do all the renovations and stuff on their own. If that was the case, I'd be all for keeping, the real Soldier Field at all times. But I don't know. I feel like it might be time for a change, and the solution is not putting a dome over top of it.
Like, how ugly would that look? Like Soldier Field right now with a dome over top. Like, it's,
and I don't even know with that.
I don't even know if it's architecturally possible, because they changed that structure so much. Like, if you go in like the end zones, like you can still see the old bleacher seatings from the original Soldier Field still sitting, because that's part of the structure holding up the new structure today. Like it's all still there, like the original architecture, because it's a monument, obviously, Soldier Field. They have to keep the structural integrity to withhold. I guess it's part of like a national monument list or whatever. Like if they were to take like a single column down, let's just say on the west side there, or I guess they're on the east side too, but like it would eliminate their status as a national monument per se. But my biggest gripe in the whole Soldier Field thing is it's like they have concerts, they have soccer games there, they have all that stuff there. Like that's what you want from a venue. It's what follows it is the downfall of it. Like the Parks District of Chicago maintains the field, right? The playing surface at Soldier Field is the worst in the NFL, and you will not change my mind on that. The Parks District is so bad at maintaining that field, it's not even funny. Like you get halfway through a season, the whole thing's destroyed. I mean, and you look at, like, for our instance, we all know it, but Iowa State's like field, they have a department that's specialized in field and turf, where basically the Parks District is just a bunch of guys in lawnmowers watering it and resodding every 5 games. You know, it's nothing special. They're not doing anything astronomical to maintain the Soldier Field playing surface, and it shows. I mean, you get towards the end of the year, the playing surface is bad, and you got guys slipping and for no reason at all. I mean, if the new stadium has grass, it probably will have grass, but I mean, you could do a whole lot better in maintaining than what the Bears and the Parks District currently do. So that's one of my biggest gripes. And two, like, how do you even renovate Soldier Field today to make it up to the standards of the other stadiums that we are seeing being built? You really can't. I mean, there's no way to expand it because, you know, you got the Shed Aquarium near there. You got other things and all that stuff. It's just all packed into one spot, and there's not a whole lot of room to wiggle there. And the Bears are missing the boat. I mean, I've been clamoring for the last 10 years for the Bears to be more of a modernized football team, and this is one step in that direction. And the other step is making an offense that scores touchdowns and not field goals. So
we're on the way there.
Well, hopefully that's another podcast for another day where we can spend all day talking about that. But so we'll I'll pull up some folks who watched this back or are currently watching. But this is kind of just some minor things. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can really tell from these renderings, really, because I mean, like, you're still seeing Soldier Field there. It's still the same Soldier Field. Like, they just gave a facelift to the outside of it, you know, to make a commons area there. Same thing here. Same thing here. But they want to add like a game day plaza, which is that first photo we saw, an amphitheater, North Gateway, which I don't even know what the hell that is. I'm sure it's in the plans that the mayor sent out with it, but just some other things over here. A play park, which I don't know what that's going to do. Like, nobody's thinking about bringing their kids to a football game. Hey, we're going to go stand at the park before the game. Not happening. So I don't know. She's trying. I guess I'll give her credit there. She's fighting for what, you know, is probably good for the city. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it is probably great that the Bears play in the city of Chicago. But at this point, how realistic is it? I think the Bears have completely tuned her out at this point. I mean, they basically even said it after she came out with these plans. Like, we're not worried about what she says. We're still negotiating with the city of Arlington Heights. And that's another thing to get into, because have to be a lot of work done to that area just to even make it a pleasant game day experience too. So that's my gripe on it. If anybody else has any other gripe to hold.
Well, I think the ideal scenario is the Bears just buy out Soldier Field. I don't know how you go about that, but
you don't
just do that.
Can't. They won't, because it's the part of the parks and monuments and all that other stuff. Whole lot of political background on that one that I don't think the Bears are willing to even play around with, quite honestly. So we're probably still, I don't know. I think their lease goes through, I wanted to say it was in 2030 something, but like they'll probably buy out of it once they get something rolling in Arlington Heights. And obviously it's going to take 2-3 years plus of developing Arlington Heights just to get it ready to go. So it's a long ways to go. But if they come out in the middle of the year next year or next summer and say, hey, we've completed the sale, like it's over. They're moving. So put a dome on it if you want. We ain't coming back.
Polish a turd, it's still a turd.
That's right. That is right. So we'll move. I don't know if you guys got any other parting shots on the. Has anybody actually been to Arlington Heights? Have you guys been to Arlington Heights?
Very briefly. When I was younger, I went with my family. But I've got a question, actually.
Yeah.
So that would still be, like, I know we're, kind of being too hypothetical for what sounds like it may not end up mattering. But wouldn't it still be very beneficial, like, for the city if Chicago had, if the Bears owned or had the rights to Soldier Field itself?
Oh, I would certainly think so. I mean,
You're just saying it's not really possible because of what else Soldier Field
Yeah,
represents as a monument?
yeah. I'm saying it's not possible just because of what, as the monument, the politics involved with it. And I'm not saying like if the Bears owned Soldier Field, it wouldn't take away from the prestige of the, the actual monument itself and being part of that. And I don't want to misquote it because I don't know what list or if it's on the national like parks registration or how they work that. That's not my forte. I don't care what's on the list of national monuments or whatever, things like that. It's on some sort of list that they have to hold Soldier Field to a certain structure and all this other stuff that goes with it. Now, and if the Bears owned it, it probably could still be on that list. It probably would still be on that list. But I think the Bears want to do so much more to that area to make it what they want that I think it would take it off that list. It's kind of what I'm thinking. So, but to your point, it would be beneficial to the city of Chicago if the Bears owned it and still stayed there, obviously, because the team's still playing in the city. It's keeping the people who come to the game staying in the city, buying or purchasing hotel rooms to stay in the city, tailgating, eating at restaurants, whatever it may be. Now, if they move to Arlington Heights, you're just moving all that traffic out to the suburbs, staying in hotels out there, eating in restaurants out there. And then when the Bears build up their entertainment center that's going to be around the stadium, they're eating in those restaurants, they're drinking at those bars, staying at those hotels that there's going to be out there. It just takes away from the tourism value that Chicago brings. I mean, there's still plenty that people that will visit the city of Chicago. It's just, for a certain game day experience, it's just not going to be there on that weekend. It's unlike the Cubs or White Sox, they may not be in the center of city, or, I mean, they're not quite as close to downtown as the Bears Soldier Field would be. But, you go to like a Cubs game or something, people visit out of town, they're going into the city of Chicago for a weekend, whatever it may be, rather than just one game on a Sunday afternoon. So, yeah, it would still be beneficial to the city of Chicago if the Bears could own that piece of land. But I don't think it's going to be possible.
Headed to Wrigley next weekend, actually.
Oh, yeah? Who are they playing? I haven't even looked that far ahead.
A good team. Decent team. The Mets.
Oh. Are they still leading the East?
Going to go to.
What'd you say?
I bought tickets for the Friday game.
You did?
Yeah, but I don't think I'm going to anymore.
Oh, man, dude. That'd be sweet. I'm going for my brother's bachelor weekend.
Oh, boy.
He's my little brother, so this whole thing is a little crazy. He's already doing this, but he actually would fit in well with us. Diehard Bears fan, likes baseball. We love the Cubs. It's going to be fun.
Bring him on. Get him a mic and let's have the brothers with Aiden and Matthias. We'll call it the Brothers Pod with Aiden and Matthias.
So if this is my last show with you guys, you know why. Went a little too hard with the guys.
I'm sure you'll be just fine.
Oh, I'll be great.
Damn. Are the Mets still leading the NL East?
I believe so.
They'll find a way they'll find a way to blow it. They always do.
They're currently a game and a half up on the Braves.
Yes, I knew it.
Here we go. There we go. So, turning gears here a little bit. Training camp's right around the corner. So I kind of tasked some guys with some things to do that the Bears need to do before training camp. And I got one guy that has an article that's coming out here either tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on when I remember to publish it. It's been edited. All right, let's get that point across. So his was 5 things the Bears need to do before training camp starts. I know maybe I should ask you guys this question before so you had more time to think about it, but there are a couple things I think you could probably think off the top of their head that the Bears could do, whether it's signing for cuts or whatever it may be, or keep people out of jail. What is one thing at the top of your head right now that you think the Bears still need to do before they hit training camp or even the regular season kicks off?
Yeah, I guess I'll give a couple quick. I mean, the whole arrest situation with this roster right now is a little weird, but I feel like get a somewhat still skilled veteran experienced wideout, which I'm sure we'll all probably agree with.
Yeah.
And then really just continue to hammer out the new offense with Getsy and Fields. I mean, I know that some of that'll happen in training camp and things like that. But look, guys, I've said it every single one of these shows, and I'll continue to say it. I'm buying into some of this Fields hype. I tell myself not to, but it really does. Not that he wasn't prepared necessarily or some things last year, but it seems like he really has taken kind of this honor and leadership role to another level this season. Maybe it's because with my new job, I'm on Twitter so much more, so I'm seeing everything essentially. But I'm really encouraged, guys. And I was talking with my brother and my uncle recently. There are some winnable games on that schedule. Yep. You guys know I like Getsy. I like some of the young pieces on defense. The Bears aren't going to be great. We know that. But, yeah, I think this is the guy. I think that I shared on this show that I basically got emotional when they drafted Justin Fields because I couldn't believe they made seemingly a correct quarterback move. And my expectations at that position are getting high. For the team, not so much, but when you look piece by piece, I know David Montgomery, you guys will obviously like to hear that. Things out of the backfield and tight end position I like. We'll see what happens at wideout, but those are a couple things I would say that give me focus and some optimism for this offense.
Aiden, how about you?
Extend Dave Montgomery. Get it done. Step 2, extend Wilson Contreras while we're at it.
Just do them all one same
do
meeting.
Them all. Yep.
Yeah, bring him in the Hallis Hall. Wilson Contreras just is confused why he's there.
Exactly. It's that easy.
Done. Got it.
But to go off Nick's point, I'm more excited than ever to see Justin Fields' development. That's the thing that is number one on my mind throughout training camp. I mean, there's been videos these last couple of days, and it looks like he's starting to kind of change his throwing form, his drops, everything like that is just kind of taking the next step. So it'd be fun to see him against some actual defense.
I mean, look at the smiles in our eyes right now. We can't even hold it in right now, Matthias. Join the club, man.
I'll end the podcast with a hot take that I have a gripe with Bears fans here later, but this thing has been bothering me all summer. But Aiden, is so you got anything else you want to add? Because I got one thing, and then I'll go on my rant a little bit.
Yeah, my bad.
Go for it.
No, you're good. Well, my thing is, I think they need to sign J.C. Tretter, the center released from the Browns earlier this offseason. He still has not been signed.
He's still out there? I'm in on that.
Still out there. So here's the thing. Sign J.C. Tretter, move Lucas Patrick over to guard. Still got a giant-ass hole sitting at right guard that they haven't done anything with because I'm telling you, we said it the last show. If freaking Mustafa is starting right guard, I'm going to go ballistic. There is no way that dude is going to be the difference maker at right guard. And that offensive line is, I think they're better. But freaking Mustafa is so bad. There's no way. Just get him out of there. Find a way to fix it. JC Tretter will probably walk in tomorrow and be I'll play.
I don't trust you with much in life, but I do trust you with O-line play. So if that's the move, I'm all in on JC.
That's how I am too. Yeah, for sure.
To go. He has to go.
I'm actually surprised Treader's still out there. He would be a respectable player and obviously one of the top leaders in the league.
But I mean, like, I know the Bears really want Lucas Patrick to play center, and I think he's developed a relationship with Justin Fields. But I think you could probably put that aside for a guy like JC Tretter, who's been, by all accounts, pretty high ranked analytically wise in the offensive line spectrum of, if you want to call it, analytic ratings. I mean, he's gonna be way better. I shouldn't say he's gonna be way better than Lucas Patrick. So I think Lucas Patrick is a guy that's like has that nasty ability about him that's just gonna beat the shit out of people up front. But he can do that at right guard, and he's played guard before with the Packers. And JC Tretter is another guy that's pretty nasty at the center position that can just slot. Basically, you sign him, you can slide them into those two positions. You're not going to have a single problem. Go out and get him. You got the cap space. You got $23 million worth of cap space right now. That's like the third highest in the league right now. Use it. If it takes $6 million to sign him for 1 year, I don't care. You still have plenty of money to play with afterwards. Why hasn't this been done?
I mean, for a guy like that, as long as there's not a big drop off, I'd go up to 7.5, 8.
Like, that's my thing. Like, my biggest downfall right now with Ryan Poles is, like, everyone can see the glaring hole at right guard, but like they're not, like, maybe they know something. I mean, they probably know something we don't know. They obviously know something they don't know. They're in the positions that they are, and we're sitting here talking about them. But there's a hole. It's there. Fix it. Like, just do it. Just do it.
So how long will it take for you? Let's say Musburger just goes crazy this year. How long would it take you to admit that you were wrong about him?
Never, because it's
like,
not going to happen.
Let's say David Montgomery has 400 yards rushing, and it's all on the right side.
It's not going to happen.
Not going.
It's not. Like, we're talking about an offensive line that's probably going to have a rookie left tackle starter, too. Like, if you're going to have a rookie left tackle starter with Sam Mustard at the right guard, like, you need to find something else that's better than that. Like, I'm not saying that this Braxton Jones guy is not going to be good, because obviously they think they see something because he's done something in the OTAs that has got him to that point. But then you got that. It's a rookie, 5th round guy, played at Southern Utah, and he's going to have some problems. He's going to have some learning curves. If you can not have so many mistakes on the other positions on the line, that hides a lot more. And if you're going out with Braxton Jones at left tackle and then Sam Mustard at right guard, that's a big problem. And I'm not saying that Braxton Jones is going to be good, but I'm saying that the problem is right guard still. Fix it. That's my plea. Do it today. Thank you. That's my soapbox. Now on to my second soapbox.
Is this the complaint?
This is the complaint. This is my beef. Have you guys noticed, like, every time, like, there's a good video of Justin Fields, and maybe you don't notice it, but I see it on the just stuff retweeted, but every time there's a great video of Justin Fields doing something like running on a treadmill, somebody like tweeted the video of Justin Fields running on a treadmill, like quarterback 1 putting in that offseason work. Like, bro, he's running on a treadmill, staying in shape. Every player in the league is doing that. Or like,
even I'm doing that, man.
I'm not doing that, so I'm not putting in that work. But like, Justin Fields could wake up in the morning and take a shit on camera and somebody be like, "Oh, they're quarterback 1. He's putting in work." Like, stop
getting all the shit out of the system.
He's trying to stay in shape, man.
Just stop thinking that he's doing a lot more than everybody else. Because I guarantee you, Tom Brady right now is doing probably more than Justin Fields, because that's just how Tom Brady is. Like, every great player in the NFL is doing that kind of stuff. And us as Bear fans, just because we're excited about Justin Fields, we just need to stop acting like he's some sort of.
I'm gonna stop you right there real quick. You said that every great player does that. When was the last time the Bears had a great player under center?
We were thinking
Jay Cutler, obviously. Wait, so you're saying that Mitchell Trubisky was not a great player under center? Thank you for admitting that. Finally,
he was better than great. He's my king.
Oh, okay.
And also, I'm not sure that Mitch put in that offseason work.
Well, of course he
not
did.
Usually. There was 1 year.
Maybe. Was it like his rookie to sophomore year? Is that when he took like the big step forward?
That's what I was thinking.
Here's how I'm spinning this, though, because Nick, you said earlier that you're buying into the hype. We always buy into this hype of people putting in that offseason work, and then it's flabbergasted and been thrown right back in our faces crap. So I'm happy we have Justin Fields, but I'm still like that cautious. optimistic
Sounds like
guy.
you're just a hater. Hater.
I guess I hate people putting in off-season work. I guess so. That's my soapbox again. Also, burn Soldier Field to the ground.
There you have it.
But sincerely, he does have somewhat of a point, right? I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but there wasn't, from what I saw, this level of hype and excitement around Trubisky that there's been around Fields, just because of obviously kind of how they were in college and just some of the, kind of basic tools and flashes that they've shown. Now, I think that if the Bears had drafted Deshaun Watson back then, there could have been that level
Yeah,
of hype.
those are 100% would have been.
Yeah, but obviously, I mean, we see what's going on, with him. So I think there's reason for it. And like I said, I'm not usually that guy, but I don't know. I think this is going to be different. I don't expect him to be a Pro Bowler this year. I do expect him to have some legitimately good numbers. He'll probably still throw a decent amount of picks. Okay. And then, as we've talked about on here and in person, Matthias, I know, then you look for 2023 to be the year everything kind of comes together.
And that's another thing that really annoys me about the old heads that we have in our Chicago Bears media still today, is that I see it all the time. Is like when we're talking about the 2022 season, is that they want Justin Fields to take this big astronomical step that may not be possible just because of what the past regime had left this entire organization. Like, I think Ryan Poles, and we've talked about it before, Ryan Poles has done what he could with what he had and recouped some draft picks, got some younger players, got some guys on some one-year deals that could hopefully turn into some multi-year deals after the season with extensions and things like that. And could you have got like a Juju Smith-Schuster or like a bigger name wide receiver in the free agent market? Sure. But it probably didn't fit the financial aspect of the 2022 season. Now, what these old heads are still talking about in the media is that, like, oh, well, he's got to take this big step in 2022. Otherwise, it's a wasted year and 2023 doesn't matter. That's wrong, because he's still on the rookie contract. And that's the thing they always go back to. Well, he's got 3 years left on the rookie contract. So what? I mean, if you want him to be great, I don't care if he's going to be great in 2022, 2024. I just want him to be good. Build a team as it goes forward. If you sign him an extension, that's great. That means he's going to be good. And just build a team that way. Like, it's none of the rest of the team isn't going to matter until the quarterback position is great for the Bears. And if it's in 2022 and they don't make the playoffs, that's fine. And if that's you, then you go to 2023, use that cap space you have, more draft picks, and just build it from there. 2022 is not going to be a wasted season whatsoever. It may be in wins and losses, but development for the younger guys, no.
I don't think it's even going to be as bad wins and losses as people think, but you're right. And that's where, I made the O-line joke, but sincerely, that's where I kind of like listening to your overall thoughts about football and kind of those more rational takes, because it combines experience with the fandom. I certainly have those expectations, and I think that especially with what will be available in terms of salary cap and things like that, this year is kind of about, bringing back that tough organizational culture.
Yep. And
seeing strides. Obviously, Fields is number one, of course, but also from many of the other young players, not seeing a drop off from Demo or Mooney, seeing a bump from Kmet, things like that. But I'm excited, and I think we got a good flow going here as well.
I think that was his sign off. Yes, it was. So Nick had to jump out here, but we're kind of to that. Oh, look, Austin's joining really quick. We lose one, we add one.
Yeah, Nick left like 10 seconds ago, so perfect timing here, Keeney.
We got formal Matthias. What's going on?
You got it. It's business casual, baby.
Okay. That looked like a button-down shirt, like he just came from a business meeting. I couldn't tell it was a golf shirt.
It's polo golf shirt, whatever you want to call it. It says Bears. Oh, wrong side. I'm looking at the camera. I'm doing this. Bears. Thank you. So we talked about it, Austin, but we'll get your thoughts here. I know you probably got to run off and do your other podcast here shortly, but your thoughts on Soldier Field and putting a dome on top.
What a stupid idea. Come on. How would that even work?
I don't think it structurally wouldn't.
Yeah,
It wouldn't work.
That's one thing I don't really understand is like, how do you build a dome on a stadium? And how long would it
I'm
take
sure
to
it's
do?
possible, but like it's gonna look stupid.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
could they do
it'll
it in
look
one
like-
off season, or are we gonna have
It'll
to
look
like?
terrible. It'll look thrown together.
They would probably have to play in Champaign again.
Or what if we go to Northwestern? They have
All right.
hillsides there. That could be fun.
We just got done talking about terrible grass fields, and Northwestern is a terrible grass field.
Do you want
Also-
a dome on? Do you want a dome on the Arlington Heights Stadium though?
Yes.
Yes,
I don't.
Oof.
I
There's something
couldn't
about
find
the
the
Bears playing
stat.
outside. All right, you know.
Here's
I get
another
it.
hot take: Bears weather does not exist, because if it did, we would have won a lot more games earlier than what we
No,
have.
fair weather doesn't exist, but there's something about the Bears playing outside that just, you know.
I think
don't-
I think with the way that the NFL works and how they get involved in these stadium builds and things like that, they're probably going to push the Bears to put a dome on it just because of events that they can have there. The Super Bowl draft, whatever it may be. I know they have already done the draft there without a dome stadium before, and they didn't even host it at Soldier Field. But like the NFL is, if they're going to invest some money into the stadium like they do when they build stadiums, they're going to want to put a Super Bowl in that building, and they'll want a dome on it.
Yep. Which kind of sucks, but they did a Super Bowl at the Giants Stadium, and that's open air. So
True.
I don't know.
True.
I wish they wouldn't do it, but they want to have concerts there in January, and they want the Super Bowl there, so it's probably going to happen.
Looking back on it now with the Giants and Jets Stadium, like if the NFL was going to do that project today, they'd probably would be like, "Hey, dome, no, nothing else."
At least make it retractable.
They could do that. I'd be okay
that'd
with
be
that.
fine. Yeah,
Or like the Colts, their stadium has like the big windows they can open and
Yep.
the roof can open. So
And they
something
probably
like that.
They probably would. Like Minnesota's doesn't have that ability, but it's also in northern freaking Minnesota, so understandable there. So,
basically,
and like
Canada.
the Rams is like built into the ground, but also has the open air to it. So there's multiple ways you could do things, I suppose. But I mean, if you want concerts in January, obviously they're going to want to have it heated in some sort of capacity too.
Or we could just have concerts at the United Center. Or we could put a dome, put a dome on Lambeau. Let's go. Let's start with that.
Okay, here's a brain buster. Should we take the roof off of the United Center and throw it on Soldier Field?
Would that get it to the 50-yard line?
Yeah, and the Bulls play outdoors.
I'm sure the city has probably floated that idea.
Oh, 100%. They're probably like, yeah, this would work. This would
This would definitely work. Yeah, just take it off there, put it on over there.
What
Fair.
if we built the dome separately and just had like some drones fly it in and put it in place?
like Amazon drones, just
Yeah.
quick prime delivery of a dome on top. Could work. Or saran wrap the top. That'll hold. That's
Work.
probably what the city of Chicago can afford too. So
Yeah,
it
How about-
works.
How about we put a football field on a boat and just put it in Lake Michigan?
Let's see Aaron Rodgers throw touchdown passes on a Rocky Stadium.
Yeah.
Dude. Who's driving the boat? Ditka?
Dick Butkus.
even better.
Just all I could think about is Bane in the Batman movie. He's like, I'm crashing this plane, and Dick Butkus fucking driving the boat, like crashing this boat with the Packers on it. That's all that went through my head right then. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. I don't know. Was there any other burning questions that we had that Austin can answer before we end this bitch?
I mean, we can ask him what are you most excited for training camp.
Yeah.
Training camp being like 2 weeks in and me not realizing it started.
Yeah.
The first
Whenever the first
preseason game.
Whenever
Yeah.
I can watch a preseason game on TV, that's what I'm looking forward to. That's about it.
Which in Central Iowa may be never. Actually, I think one might be on ESPN. The second one.
I also can't wait for preseason overreactions from every NFL team.
Yeah, like the first
Someone's
game when
gonna
all
go
the
4-0,
backups.
and it's someone's gonna go crazy for it, but it really doesn't matter because it's preseason.
The
Soon as
Bears
I
are
hear
going to
that-
go 3-0 in the
Yeah.
preseason. Just watch, and that's when the fans are like, yeah.
As soon as I hear
We're
that
back.
David Montgomery's in the best shape of his life and he got faster this offseason, that's how I'll know.
Yeah. Said that every offseason. Said that's all the way back to the Iowa State days.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. He's gotten faster like 6 years in a row. I wonder what he's been doing.
Might have to take a look into that. This man's been faster every year since the beginning of time.
All right, fellas. Got some podcasting to do.
All right. Well, we're going to end this thing anyway. So for Matthias, Aiden, Austin, and Nick,
Pleasure to be here.
It's been a pleasure. So we'll be back in a couple weeks, and we'll by then it'll be training camp time. So we'll talk to you guys then. Thanks for watching and listening.
Go Bears.